There's a lot of reports that a January move looks likely. It could be quite quick because the buyout clause, I think, has that first 2-week kind of validity period. United linked, City linked heavily, Liverpool, Spurs, still some murmurings I'm seeing on TalkSport of Arsenal maybe, but it's unlikely. What's your latest understanding of the potential done deal surrounding Semenyo?
Well, it's looking likely that he'll go in January, even though the clause is only active for the first half of the window. And the reason for that is because there's several clubs in conversations, and people keep talking about the clause, but the conversations are on the player side to find out, does he want to go mid-season and has he got a preference? And if you can get the player like Cunha or Mbumo or several other players to say, I only want one club, like João Pedro said, I only want Chelsea, then you're in a stronger position. And actually, once you've got that player buy-in, you might be able to say, clause diminishes in the summer, let's pre-agree it now. You might be able to get different payment terms because other clubs might back off. So most of the people in the Semenyo race are speaking on the player side, not necessarily to Bournemouth, because they all know what this clause entails. The payment terms are relatively transparent from what I understand. And it is 65 million for Bournemouth in January, and it drops by about 5 million in the summer. But I'm told the clause is a bit more complicated in the sense the 65 does include some add-ons. And also it's 65 to Bournemouth because of solidarity payments, in the same way that Newcastle billed Alexander Isak as 130, but it was book cost to Liverpool of 125. So it may be slightly under 65 to suitors. Not that it makes a massive difference, because he's going to be handed a 5-year contract likely wherever he goes, and it's going to be amortized by the maximum of 5 years. So whether it's 60, 62, 65 probably doesn't make the blindest bit of difference on the books. And as it stands, yes, you have some clubs that would prefer to do it in the summer, but if one club like a Man City or a Liverpool pushes in January, I think everyone that's interested will enter the race, which again is why it's fascinating, because one club could be really bullish and go, we're not going to wait for the player's decision, we're just going to trigger the clause and then we're going to see how he reacts. Other clubs would prefer Semenyo to just communicate a decision, and then everyone will back off, knowing whoever he picks will basically trigger or match the clause. And this is why we're getting a lot of hype. If we take the clubs one by one, Man City are very serious about Semenyo. I said in my last answer, they want a different kind of winger, basically with the output of a wide forward. And they held talks in the last 48 hours on the player side. So they're one to watch. Liverpool, of course, because they want to have a Salah succession plan, but they also didn't replace Luis Diaz. And the beauty of Semenyo is he's genuinely two-footed. So he could play on the right or the left for Liverpool. And then if you also add to the fact that Mo Salah's at AFCON and his long-term future still has a question mark over it, Liverpool could be there as well. Tottenham have been quite aggressive in the last week or two, but I'm not so sure compared to the other two clubs I've mentioned, they're the front runner, but they can't be discounted. And then you have Man United and Arsenal. Arsenal would prefer to do the deal in the summer. Let's see if their hand is forced. I was always told by Arsenal sources, January is going to be quiet, and that if they are to sign a winger, they're looking for a starting left winger. That could, of course, be Semenyo, because he can play both sides. But it would need a Trossard or a Martinelli departure in likelihood. And they'll have to consider the fact that Eze can filter wide left, and Noni Madueke was signed and told, you're going to switch sides. And Madueke, now he's fit, is in good form. So Arsenal have got a decision to make. Do they enter the race for Semenyo, or do they wait for another box office left-wing specialist in the summer? But if they just do nothing, I think it's likely other clubs will try and get this done in January. Not definite, but likely. And that's also shown by the fact that Bournemouth are looking at replacements. And then lastly, we have Man United. And now I think many of the reports that I respect are on the same page, that Man United are also serious about Semenyo and are prepared to do it in January. In an ideal world, you'd wait and you'd do it in the summer. But they're not going to sit and watch a race for Semenyo and not enter it. So again, in the last 48 hours, they've made some calls as well and could be a contender. Now, when I broke this, it kind of got rubbished with many people saying Man United's interest is only historical. Man United are not active anymore. Man United only liked him over the summer. Man United can't do the deal in January. And I've stuck by my position. And I think most now agree that Man United are active in the race for Semenyo and they could financially pull it off in January. Are they the front runner? That's hard to tell because Man City and Liverpool can offer him Champions League football in the second half of the season. But are they in the race? Absolutely. So it's relatively open at the moment because all parties are just waiting to see what the player's decision is. But 5 of the big 6, with Chelsea at the moment, the only one that haven't made a call, are all currently speaking to Semenyo. Certain sources say the likes of Barcelona, Bayern Munich, Napoli, Lazio, I've heard, have all made calls as well. But I think if Semenyo moves, it will be within the Premier League.
There's a comment here from Steve that says, still not sure Semenyo is an ideal wing back in Amorim's system. He's better as a 10. On that, I mean, he could certainly play Amorim's wing back roles because Amorim seems to prefer actual wingers in those roles to wing backs. But United did, in play and then after substitutions, go to a back 3 and use sort of very traditional wingers, back 4 and use traditional wingers against Bournemouth on Monday night. And there've been further reports since that United will start adapting to 4 at the back more regularly. So from a United perspective, and in fairness, whether people like Ruben or not, like the new Man United hierarchy, Wilcock and Amorim have both over the past 12 months mentioned that at some point the formation will change, at some point this will happen. Could this be an extra trigger for Manchester United to say, well, we now need someone who is another out-and-out winger because we have Ahmad and Mbeumo, but they're right-sided only. Could this be an even bigger motivation now for United to try and get this deal done?
Potentially, but it's really easy to look at what might be a formational shift for Ruben Amorim and the need or the desire anyway from the manager to add another left wing back and think, great, that's perfect on paper. But what if you're calling up Semenyo and Spurs would be saying you're going to be a left winger because they've got Kudus on the right. Liverpool are going to be saying you've got both sides. City are going to be saying you can pretty much play where you like and be versatile and have freedom. If Man United call up and go, we want you as a versatile winger both sides, but we're probably going to use you as a wing back, who's to say that because there's a big point of difference in the pitches, Semenyo goes for that. So that's the first thing to say, that yes, the versatility is a plus, but I think to get Semenyo, you've got to have a really specific pitch because he's flooded with options, all great options, all big clubs from with England and no doubt beyond. So he may say, I'm just going to go and play in the team that has Champions League and offers me the favoured position, whatever that may be. A lot of people are saying he can play central as a 10 or a 9 because that's where he started his career. I think he wants to be a winger, but obviously with freedom to cut inside. And the other thing is if you're Man United, you might in the long run want a left wing back. But at the moment, you would say his first 6 weeks at the football club, if he joined Man United and you factor in post-AFCON recovery, Man United are without Ahmad and without Mbeumo. So for me, it'd be unthinkable to sign him, having done so well in his current position at Bournemouth, and then not use him there, given in the short term, there's a gaping hole within the Manchester United squad. And if he starts scoring goals and continuing his excellent form, why would you tinker with that? And then it's a World Cup year. So perhaps he doesn't want to change his position dramatically, knowing that he's then going to go off to the World Cup as well. So these are all considerations. And that's what I mean, that people want to know where's he going and people think our team are bidding. But this saga is about calling up Semenyo and selling him your project. And then pretty much anyone that wants to sign him, in my opinion, will make a concession and say, we are prepared to trigger or match the clause. Or if the player's prepared to wait, we just pre-agree it somewhere in between this clause and the summer clause. So it's actually quite simple. You got to pitch to Semenyo knowing there's heavy competition. And if Man United's pitch is left wing back, I would be a little bit wary of that, because I know sources close to the player have no issue playing anywhere on the field, but he's good enough to pick his primary position. And I don't think he sees that as left wing back. And if you think, even though it's not like for like, about Giovanni Quenda, Ruben Amorim and Man United told Quenda, you're a left wing back. And Chelsea, pitching at the same time, told Quenda, you're a left winger. And Chelsea told Quenda, you can stay for an extra year and join us summer 2026. And Man United said, we want you now, and we want you as a left wing back. There was nothing wrong with either pitch. It just came down to preference. And Quenda said, I'm going to join the club that plays me in left wing. I'm going to join the club that lets me do one more season before coming to the Premier League. So that is just an example, because it is really that simple. And I think Quenda would have joined Man United if Chelsea had said, we want you now as a left wing back, and Man United had said, we'll wait a year and you're a left winger. So players are much simpler than you realise, because at any Big Six club, the wage will be fine. The clause is relative market value. So this is about convincing Semenyo. And what I find fascinating is all of the clubs in the race, tactically, do actually have slightly different pitches and positions.
Brilliant update. Thank you very much for that, Ben. It means a great deal to us here. I want to thank you all for watching. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Please like if you haven't done so already. Like the video, share it across your social media platforms. If you've got any hypes left for the month, get it hyped up as well. Ben, always a pleasure to sit here and speak football and transfers with you. The last show we'll do together before, so have a Merry Christmas, and I'm sure we'll speak again at some point over the festive period. The Christmas jumper is banging with the golden doodle on the front there as well. Until next time, everybody, take care, goodbye, God bless, and we'll see you all again very, very soon. Bye-bye.